Welcome back to another episode of Dolphin Tales. Today, we're switching the script up a little bit. We've got two, I'm calling them JU legends because I can. Two guys that I had the privilege of being teammates with, friends with for a long time. Chad Hauseman, Chad Oliva. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, so reason we wanted to bring them on together, obviously the Chads, and the fact that you guys were both named to the All-Decade Team is pretty special. So wanted to talk to you guys about that, and I guess we'll just jump right into it. So obviously being on the baseball team, having a lot of success, Chad being in the JU Hall of Fame, which we'll obviously get to as well. But let's talk about the fact that the list just came out to be part of an All-Decade Team that's got just some pretty incredible people on it. So, House, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't even know about it until you sent me the text, and then I sent a text to Chad.
I didn't know about it until he sent it.
And so it's one of those where we're not on social media a ton, but no, it was an honor, and now my kids are older to never really get a chance to watch me play baseball, but come back for the alumni game was pretty cool with Chad, which we went to school with and came in '98, and then Murphy and Dobbins and Pete Clifford. That's a great group. All of us ended up, being All-Americans and playing minor league baseball. To do that was pretty cool. So good honor, and now we get a chance to come to the River House and sit down and talk to you, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your experience and just like you said, hearing it from House and being included on that list.
Yeah, no, it's a great honor. I mean, when you kind of step back and look at it, you start putting in perspective the amount of teams that were part of it. I mean, you're talking teams that are no longer part of the same conference.
Right.
So just to go through the names and see some of the names on the list. I mean, so when you start looking through and start breaking it down, just talking to family and friends. I mean, it's a big honor. I mean, the amount of teams, the amount of the entire decade. It was just it was really cool to share with family, friends. An interesting part was my daughter, who's 14 and plays, softball, volleyball is kind of where she's at, but big time in the softball world. They recently came out with some national rankings for softball players, position rankings, and like days before she was ranked nationally in terms of, overall in the 2024 class is what she's in. She's a freshman at PV High, at Ponte Vedra High, and so it was something that we were able to kind of share together. She was put on some pretty cool rankings, and also as a position as a catcher. And my wife sent something out, and I mean, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I got so many." Kind of put the things out for both the All-Decade Team from the ASUN as well as her ranking. So it was a special thing we could share together, and hopefully, this is many more. But it was just a really cool honor, something that I know we're really proud of. We worked really hard.
It was cool though too. We were roommates and went to school together, and we lived in the same street. Our kids call each other Uncle Chad and Aunt Stacy, Aunt Tiffany, which is great. But his mom, for like birthday / Thanksgiving, gave us a baseball or a baseball glove that had our names and All-Decade Team, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
So that's something that it means a lot to our family who sacrificed all of our success to put us here at JU and coming to watch us play. My dad driving, my mom driving in from Pennsylvania, his dad and mom coming in from Palm Beach. Every game. So it's just a lot of hard work that went into it. I'm getting kind of the goosebumps just talking about it. Yeah. It's just a lot of hard work, coming in and battling and doing it, which is pretty cool. So
and to look back, and we were talking a little bit before we started recording, just us being in the stage of life where we are now, where to look back on the teams that we were a part of and that period of JU baseball. It's a special time.
Yeah.
They've had obviously some great players and some great teams, but maybe I'm a little bit biased, but coming into that sort of legacy and being part of those teams was incredible. And now having kids where we're doing exactly what you said our parents did for us, the sacrifices, I was standing out in the cold watching soccer practice last night. Yeah. And so to be going through that, and I know you guys are doing a lot of coaching right now. So let's talk a little bit about the recruiting process and coming to Jacksonville. Obviously, you were from South Florida, from Pennsylvania. So talk a little bit about the process and finding out about the university and what brought you to JU.
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah. So me being from Pennsylvania, I was more of a three-sport guy, and football was more my passion. But knowing that I could play the next level of baseball, the reason for JU, I went to a private school, I went to an all-guy school. And JU being a small private school, underclassmen, mostly athletics, smaller class sizes, and having the ability to compete as a freshman. So when I came in '98, they graduated the whole outfield except for right fielder was Kirk Ashley. So coming in, we had an opportunity. So Troy Veliber and I, we were starting outfielders as freshmen. So I was left field, Troy was center field. So that was my main reason is coming in. I didn't want to get redshirted. I wanted to play. I wanted to compete. I wanted to have a small class size. And I wanted to be able to have a small, college feel. And that was the main reasons why I didn't go to Clemson or South Carolina or bigger schools to come down south. And I'm so glad I did. And it was just, it was a great experience from start to finish. And plus, you in baseball, you only have a certain a lot of scholarships.
Right.
So it allows you to compete to get more money as the years go on. And our freshman class, Chad, myself, Brian Williams, Troy Veliber, those four came in, all of us ended up getting drafted. So it says a lot about, Palm Beach, Florida, Jacksonville, Brian Williams from Orlando, being able to bring in random talent from across the country to come in and cohesive meet and gel that quick, and which was pretty special. Those 4 years, we were regionals three years. You were two.
You were three. Yeah.
Yeah. So to be able to do that quick and bring in junior college kids over here, being a smaller school, we played against Miami and Florida State, Georgia Tech. So we played against all the nationally ranked teams, and we competed and we did really well. I think we beat Florida and Florida more than we lost to Florida.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that was my biggest reason is I wanted to play professional baseball, knowing coming into a smaller school I could compete and do what I did, and it was a great choice.
We had Alex Ricker-Gilbert on a few episodes ago, and we were talking about when I first came here, it was kind of this hidden gem, and obviously things have progressed, and that's great for the university. And I remember, going back home and telling people like, yeah, I play, it's a D1. Who do you play? And exactly like you said, to be a top level program, to, be where we were in the conference and to play and compete and beat a lot of those, those schools that everyone knows was a special thing, and I think a lot of people just didn't realize that in the state. And JU's doing a lot to make sure that it's not the hidden gem, that they are a national contender. Yeah. But talk a little bit about what brought you here.
Yeah, I guess a little different than Chad. Obviously being from Florida and South Florida, which is obviously hotbed for baseball,
right.
But to me, I was familiar with Jacksonville University. I had my list of schools and. I used to, back in the day, the Sunshine Network, I used to catch JU games back on the Sunshine Network, so I was familiar. One of my best friend growing up actually did come to JU a year before me, so that was a nice little, that helped as well, as a kind of an introduction to the university. But for me, I had a decent amount of, obviously a good amount of opportunities, went on all my visits, then started getting to the camps and everything else, and similar to Chad, for me, those of us that, I think the program speaks volumes, but those of us that know, Division I in the state of Florida, Jacksonville University has, always been a force from the side of baseball. And so, and then as I was looking at the opportunities and looking at, going on the visits, I know when I came here, between the official visit and then the camp, when I left here, I knew this is where I wanted to go to school. Just being on, I think when you step foot on the campus here, you start to realize, man, this is a special place. Right. Of course, the size of the university, academics was super important as well, and having the small class sizes to have that little bit more one-on-one, undivided attention from the professors was also important. But I knew once I came here that this is where I wanted to go. And to what Chad was saying as well, for me it was also a little bit about positions. It really came to a toss-up between Miami and JU. There was other schools in the mix. Just knowing kind of where I was at, I was catching at the time, and I wanted to be a catcher. I knew I had the opportunity to come and start as a freshman, and that was another big part. You want to get on the field. Let's be honest. And so I always joke because Miami did win 2 national championships when we were in school. Freshman and junior year, which I had a lot of buddies there, but looking back, obviously wouldn't change it for anything. from baseball side, obviously it was great for us. We had great runs.
Sure.
So we had great teams. We built obviously long-lasting friendships, relationships. I'd be remiss if I didn't say the most important thing is I did meet my wife at JU. She played tennis here at JU. We came in at the same time, and of course, they're still now, married. I guess it's 17 years now, and 2 beautiful kids. So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So it's JU is a very special place for me. The recruiting, that whole thing, like you said, things have changed from now, 20 plus years ago till today. We talked about that a little bit before, but just a really cool process. I think for me, getting here and getting on campus and you see the kind of the special place it is, and then you marry that with, we know the rich history and tradition of sports that JU offers,
Right.
And it is, able to compete on the high level. So it was an interesting time to look back on it now and hopefully get the opportunity to share with our kids. But that was kind of a little bit of the journey.
There you go. Well, and remember, we were the last people to beat Miami.
My
junior year.
Yeah.
We were the last ones. We beat them at their place, and so
Yeah.
we spoiled their season, and then they went on.
straight after that.
After that,
they didn't
that's
lose
right.
a game after we beat them, and including winning
Down
all the way
there.
through Omaha.
That's right.
They went undefeated. Yep.
Yeah, no, and the very similar story to yours. I knew Ryan Corson, so he was a year older than me, and we had played my junior year in high school. We did like a winter ball thing because we were at different high schools. He came up here. I came up for my trip, did the Christmas camp. And I remember, and I think I've talked about this in previous episodes, just driving in the night before the camp, you see downtown, you come onto campus, and we walked up in the stands and looked around. It's just like there's just something about it.
Yeah, there's something special when you come down the hill, when you come in the main gate, and you look out the water, you see the baseball field. I mean, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about recruiting because, like we said, we're pretty sure they're not sending around VHS tapes anymore. But you guys having kids that are getting ready to get in the recruiting process, and coaching them as well. Talk a little bit about what you see as different between when we were going through it.
Yeah, so I'll start as my kids transition. They do football and then lacrosse. So I'm here at JU a lot for camps and clinics, and Coach Galloway coaches some of the youth programs for the Finns, and we're actually going to be here tomorrow night for that JU High School varsity JV are playing against Fleming Island for like an exhibition game, which is pretty cool. So so my kids transitioned into lacrosse, and completely different. When we grew up playing baseball, it was you played Legion ball, you went to some camps, you did that. So now everything is travel and showcases, and you get more accolades through all these. Unfortunately, it's expensive, but you're playing this camp or a Nike camp or Under Armour mini camp, and you're whatever. And he laughs at me, and we go back and forth. And like during season, like we live right in the corner, and we barely see each other. It's like, hey, can you walk? Can you let my dogs out? Like I'm gonna be gone this weekend, or hey, can you do this? So you played a lot of different mini travel teams, and it's competitive to do it. But once you hit to that 14 years old, so I have a son who's a freshman. He'll be playing, JV, competing for varsity, and I have an 8th grader. So it's like for lacrosse, it's super competitive to get them seen at an early age. And right now with COVID and everything we're at, all the college coaches are kind of in like a dead period. So it's hard for them to recruit. It's hard to go after athletes. It just got extended, right? It was
April 15th.
April 15th
for Division One.
Okay.
For Division One, where it's hard for baseball coaches to recruit and to do that. So. I'm super proud of my boys, and now we're in the part where we're training, and you're getting them ready to take that next step. Right, the next step is to get them ready for high school, and then if they're ready to transition. And going through the recruiting process with my dad, that was super special for me. And going on the road trips and taking my 5 visits for baseball and football to do that. Now we're starting to see that, like what it takes to put your kids in the right position. So as parents, we control that we have to put our kids in the right situations to get them seen.
Right.
So sometimes you got to make uncomfortable decisions and different teams to make sure that they're being put in the right spots to do it. So it's one of those where we travel a lot. We ended football, and we were in Baltimore, then we were in Philly, then we were in Delaware, then we were in Atlanta. So it was just with 3 kids traveling different ones. Like the summer, my wife had my youngest son, I had my oldest son, and my dad had my middle son. So we were like gone.
Ships
all
passing in the
summer.
night, right?
Yeah, so it's just the little things, and when I said at Goosebumps earlier, is the sacrifices our parents put through, and even though my parents were divorced, my dad driving, my mom working 2 jobs, being able to put us in the spots for baseball, wrestling, and now we're giving that back tenfold to our kids to make sure that they have all the keys to success, the coaches, the training, to have it. Just because I learned so much coming to JU and competing, and Chad and I, we came in '98 and we were roommates and best friends, and we still are. But competing,
We're not roommates, by the way.
we're not roommates now. No, we should be, right? We could really do that.
Not roommates,
I
but we're
mean,
best friends.
But
just clarify.
we were roommates. But being able to show, like, waking up when we were in college at 5:30 and going to the gym and having that mindset and having the determination and that the worth ethic. So I tell my kids, and that's one thing with me opening the business last year and going to the gym and grinding and having the kids see that. Now they're starting to do it with us, and at 41 years old I'm still doing it. So now it's kind of like your kids now are starting to see that trend that once it's built into your brain, that hard work and grinding and doing it every day. So now it's cool to see, like, my 14 and my 13-year-old seeing, all right, and then it's been this last. Everyone says this year's been crazy, and for mortgages it's been fantastic. But the best thing,
First time mortgage.
First time mortgage.
First time mortgage. In case
Your marketing guy like
purchase and your refinance needs. I'm your guy. Hold that. But that's like the best thing, and he knows too, is we kind of created my garage. We went old school, and he had a gym set from like 2003 that it was in my dad's shed that I remembered I had, and I went and got a truck and picked it up. So that was a cool thing, is I was able to start training the kids every day because all the gyms were shut down.
Right.
That's where we haven't stopped, and it's to me, I'm able to talk to the kids, and I'm able to have that one-on-one communication, and just talk to them about
right.
hard work and showing them what it takes. There is no easy way. There's no hard work. You got to grind it out, and it's been the process that hopefully the kids get an opportunity to come and play football in college, or they play lacrosse in college, because like Chad said earlier, we have so many good friends that we still stay in contact with, that we went to JU with.
Right.
We're still close with Chris Hayes. Hopefully he puts me into the Hall of Fame here soon. I think
We need like a Baselli type thing, don't we?
Chris Hayes, if you're listening, if I need to donate more money, just let me know. But
We need a petition. We need a
we'll talk
petition.
later. I will sell more bricks, or you can do whatever you need to do. I got you.
That was TA.
We need a new.
TA was a brick stack. But I know it's a long-winded answer, and
To get in the Hall of Fame.
To get into the Hall of Fame, but
I see where we're going with this.
But
We need a hashtag is what we need.
Yeah. So no, but the recruiting, I mean, it's something that I'm very passionate about, and like this morning we were at the gym at 6:15 and getting our work done, and it's just, to me, it's awesome. I love working with them one-on-one. I love watching them play. Now, as they're transitioning to high school, I'm dad, so I can coach them on the side.
Right.
So I'm kind of taking a step back and just being dad, and I enjoy it, which has been pretty cool. So
There you go. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame. And it's funny you mentioned that, and I completely agree. I mean, being part of the All-Decade, playing with you for 3 years, and actually I was talking to John Galui a couple weeks ago, and just talking about the show and JU and just kind of reminiscing and thinking back to the teams that we were part of. I know he redshirted the 01 season where we went to regionals. So you were part of 3 regional teams, 2 regional teams. And, again, I just remember coming in and just the size of the team. The guys, it was like, I was not one of the biggest guys, shockingly. And, just the amount of talent that we had. And I know when you were on Clubhouse Chatter with Scott Manzi, you talked about the 98, freshman team that came in with you and those guys. And looking back, like the 03 run for me was an unbelievable team experience. To have kind of our ups and downs, specifically you, which I want to get to in a second. But for me, the 01 team, the amount of talent that was part of that team was just unbelievable. I mean, the amount of guys that went on to do incredible things, the two of you being recognized in the way that you are, to be a part of that, as a freshman. I mean, we had like 15 guys come in, 3 of us made the team. I was the only pitcher, and then we had Hurst and Hudson. and because you guys, it's just a very experienced team. And so to go through all that and, now to be part of JU Hall of Fame, and, you think about it's like, because we were part of JU, and it's like, oh, it's a very nice thing and a very great honor. But you think through all the guys that we've played with that aren't part of the JU Hall of Fame. And so it makes it, as I was thinking through, it's like, that's a big deal. And so talk a little bit about, that process and finding out you were part of it and accepting it and all that stuff.
No, listen, it's a great honor. I mean, it's I think anytime you get the opportunity to be inducted into a obviously Hall of Fame, high school, college, and obviously and beyond, it's a tremendous honor. Back to kind of what I was saying before, it kind of the culmination of everything you've done. I mean, all the hard work, the sacrifice, yourself, your family that you have to go through. So it's great to be recognized. I remember, I think I was in the 08 class, which I thought was pretty cool because I was inducted with D. Brown. So everybody knows D. Brown. Nobody knows me, but everybody knows D. Brown. Remember when he pumped his shoes up and he won the slam dunk contest, right? So that was pretty cool, and we had a great class. But that was something, everybody's like, oh, I was like, I throw D's name out. I know D. Brown. Yeah, good. But it's a tremendous honor, and when I found out about it, obviously it's something, and once I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, then I kind of for a while was part of the selection process, a committee. I was kind of one of the former players / being in the Hall of Fame. So I did that for a few years. I got hit up by him all the time to try to get nominated.
Is he standing outside your house with a sign or something?
So my wife too. My wife's like, "Hey, wait a minute! I got all kinds of records too. Like, why am I?" And I was like, "Listen, I can't speak."
It's a committee decision. It's not an individual decision.
But it's a tremendous honor. I mean, there's I know they did some nice things over at the baseball complex now, where they brought in some of the Hall of Fame members there in the office. And then, of course, here on campus. But I'll tell you, it's something that the funny speech. He did my induction speech, which that's what I'm thinking. Man, if he gets inducted, I'm gonna have to do his speech.
Well, I have followed D. Brown's pastor.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I look over at Chad. We have Shep and TA. We have a good table.
Yeah.
All the coaches.
We got family.
All the coaches were there, and I look over at him, and I'm. Whatever, it's 20, 26?
Well, we were 20. It was 2008.
27?
So yeah, you were pretty young.
So I'm looking over him, and it took me like a month to write this thing out. And this guy is working the room. I'm looking over at Chad. I'm like, I gotta file this.
Yeah, he was in a no-win situation.
He's like, you got it. He asked his dad to do it.
Yeah, my dad's like,
and then his dad calls me.
I was like, I won't be able to.
And so Angelo, and he's just
which most of the people don't realize, because you would think if you knew my dad, he would have no problem.
Yeah. So he calls me. He goes, House. I can't do that. I'm like, you got this, Ange. I'll help write the speech. He's like, no, you got to do it. I'm like, well, if Chad asked me to do it, I'll do it. He goes, well, he's calling you right now. You're going to do it. So it was a big honor for me, and I mean, it took me a month to write this out and do it. So to me, it was him getting in the Hall of Fame was like me getting in the Hall of Fame, because we worked so hard together, and teamwork and training and working together. So that to me was like a huge honor to be able to do that. Of course, and if I get into the Hall of Fame, I will have the other Hall of Famer doing my induction speech. That's for
we'll bring the camera in. We'll bring you back on the show. We'll talk all about it.
We'll go back again. First
time mortgage. We'll sponsor it. Absolutely.
I'll cater it. I will bring camouflage hats. We will make it happen.
But it is no. But truly, I mean, we joke about it. But it's an amazing honor, and it's something that I can I share. My kids bust my chops now. Like
sure.
Dad, you weren't that good, were you? But it is nice to be able to bring them around. I mean, I remember just the first time they were old enough to come and see, go to the Hall of Fame room and to see it and to share that with them, and obviously at the field, and it's a special thing to be able to do. And I know you talk about from day one. I mean, that's a culmination of work from when you're a kid, when we were talking, it's all part of it. But to be able to hopefully, pass, like Chad was saying, be able to pass that mindset and that approach in life to your kids, and so that they can set themselves up for what the future looks like. It's really cool. So it's a great honor, and really means a lot.
Again, I know you were on Clubhouse Chatter, and so we could probably sit here for the next few hours and tell stories about the old baseball house and travel and all kinds of stuff. But let's hear the best baseball story you've got. I'll start with you, House.
Oh, baseball story.
There's a lot we can't say on this.
University appropriate.
Yeah, I still think, and I told Scott when we were on Terry Alexander, TA, he was our head coach and third base coach. So he was always trying to be slick in how he would give steal signs and what have you too. So I was telling Scott when we were doing the Clubhouse Chatter, and it's just one of those where everybody has signs. You have open hand, green light too. So there's so many stories we can say, but we can't say it on camera. But the best one was he would give a steal sign, right? So it was his hashtag like green light. And Chad and I were pretty athletic, and we could steal even for bigger guys if we had a good jump. But he would get up on his tippy toes and he would rock. So it'd be one of those where he's like trying not to cheat on the test, and he'd look away and look. And I'll do it here in a second. But everybody from the catcher, the pitchers, everybody knew you were stealing. So he would get up and he would sit there like this, and he would start rocking his toes back, and he'd look around and he'd just slide them on in, come in and then just roll back, and pretty much his hands would go in. That was his green light to go. So, and that was 4 years of having the same green light sign. But that's probably the best one. There's so many different variations of Bob Shepard and Fletch and TA stories and Johnny Howard, and all four of those coaches. Listen, they were at Chad's induction speech, or his Hall of Fame induction, and those guys would do anything for us. They were incredible coaches, and TA and Fletch has passed on, but Bob Shepard I still talk to. Johnny Howard, we still see him. He comes back for the alumni games, and he's doing better. So we had a really great core of coaches that would, and also Les Wright, like he was my savior, my senior years. Les and I we're still tight, and we would drive the white vans. You remember the white vans?
Yeah.
So we would drive to like Stetson and to Georgia Southern and to other places in South Florida. So I would ride shotgun with Les when Shep was having a mood. We call him the Grinch. So I ride with Les. But the TA rocking his feet with the green light. It's one of those I'll never forget. Just how he and everybody knew was coming. All the other fans knew it. Like, hey, you're stealing. Like, I know.
We could have just gone with verbal cues by then,
I'm coming. I'm doing it. So, but that was the one that always kind of sticks.
There you go.
Too.
Chad, what do you got?
No, we definitely had a great group of coaches, and like you said, obviously it wouldn't be right not to mention the great staff, with TA and Shep and
Fletch.
Fletch, who I know has passed on. Coach Howard was very special to me too. He worked with the catchers. I see him. He comes out to alumni games still. Very special place, with me. Coach Les Wright as well. And also, even before we got here, Rusty Green. I still see Rusty to this day. He'll still say our class was the best recruiting class he ever.
It's funny. Rusty actually recruited. He recruited Chad, myself, Brian Williams, and Troy. So all four of us were freshman starters. So I get the phone call. So I didn't commit to JU till late. So I was going to play football at West Virginia, and I get a phone call like the end of July. I'm just about ready to come to JU, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Bob Shepard. I'm your new hitting coach." I'm like, "Who are you?" So right away I call Rusty, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "I'm out." And it was one of those where Rusty he drove up to Pennsylvania to meet us, but he still sees us, and we come back for all the alumni games and whatever, and I think Rusty is proud that we still come back and we still contribute. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are one of my best classes ever, most talent." He goes, "I just had to walk away. I had to move on to just for family purposes and making more money and doing it." So Rusty actually, I gave Bob Shepard a hard time. Rusty was actually the one who recruited us over, and not Shep.
Yeah.
So not many people know that.
That's funny.
Yeah, Rusty. You get Rusty a plug in there. But, and Coach Wiggs, actually, when we came in,
Johnny
both of the pitching coach and recruiting coordinator, head assistant coach was Rusty Green and Johnny Wiggs, both of which left before even our season started. And that's when Bob Shepard came in, Shep, and then Fletch.
Yeah.
So both of those, they came in. So they were not part of that, of us coming in, but obviously we're part of our time being here and phenomenal, coaches, and we had a great run. Man, when you asked a question about your best story at JU, and my mind's just starting to roll.
Right.
There's a lot of good locker room clubhouse stories, which probably aren't necessarily appropriate. I mean, I have a really good one that's in my mind right now. It doesn't have to be off the off the deal, but I could keep it somewhat clean. But I don't know if we should do that.
Do it.
I can go 2 of them. You can always edit this stuff out, right? Okay.
Oh yeah. Not now, but good.
Well, I'll tell you what. Actually, both of these are 2 of the stories I'm thinking of. I mean, some are baseball related, but 2 that I'm thinking of, which just stick out in my mind, were actually the same guy. And I don't know if he's ever going to see this, but Sam Shippey was a pitcher.
Oh, that was good.
And he was there my freshman year. He was in Chad's freshman year. That Chad redshirted that year. He was a senior. Matter of fact, I don't want to mess it up, but he was from Maine. And I think he's some sort of big time doctor up there now.
eye doctor.
Yeah, I think he's an ophthalmologist or whatever. Shippy, if you watch this, I don't know which one you are, but I know you're big. I know you're big time and way more important than the rest of us. But man, I'll tell you, there's 2 with him.
It was a rain delay at Florida.
Yes, the rain delay at Florida State. My freshman year, it is the regionals. I mean, a packed house, 7,000 people, whatever it was. It was Nick Virgilio versus Nick Stocks. 2 first. I mean, Nick was, Nick was like the second or third round, and second or first pick in the second round.
Rangers.
With the Rangers for JU. Nick Stocks was a first rounder. I think he was like a sandwich pick, but this was like a big time build up. I mean, big time game, and anyways, in the middle of honestly I forget it. I think it was before the game started, I think, but it was a huge rain delay. And Sam Shippey was a pitcher. He was a relief pitcher, but it was also like he was our character, just classic, just funny dude. Always did stuff in the locker room, and well, he would do the greatest during rain delays. The crocodile hunter, who may rest in peace too. I think who passed away as well. Steve
Irwin.
But anyways, man, he did this performance. It was during the rain delay. Again, 6,000 fans, where he did the crocodile hunter.
He had the mic.
They gave him the PA. We actually, Chip Baker, who was the third base, he sent up to get the mic. And he was doing this, and the tarp was on. The tarp was then the alligator on the middle of the field. And Josh Corey, who Josh Corey would always be that he would take the fungo bag, and that was the camera.
Clearly, yeah.
And anyways, I'm telling you, he had the entire. They had it on the news. Like, it was so amazing. He was over there, and he'd be like, and they had this wall croc, now we're at Florida State with the Seminoles, so the whole time he's just steady, throwing in like jabs about the Gators, and they're going nuts, and he jumps on the back of the entire tarp and he's wrestling it and gets it down. He's like, the Seminole takes down the game, and anyways, everybody's going crazy.
That was awesome.
And it was truly, and they had it on the news. They were talking about bringing them back to do it like in the middle of like a halftime of the game. But I have to tell the rest of the story because it turns out I believe we're winning the game 3-2. It's a 3-2 ball game in like the 7th or 8th inning, and we're we're either winning 3-2 or losing, but it's a tight game. Nick and Nick are they're throwing gems. I remember I know got on whatever, I don't know exactly how, but I remember Josh Johnson hits a double down the line. I'm on second base or first base. I might have been on first. I might have hit a single, and I'm on first base. Double down the left field line. I come and score. I'm safe. My dad will still swear I'm safe to this day. I did it like it came around slide. They nailed me out. I feel like we were losing 3-2 at the time. After that, it was like the 7th. Well, Shippey is in the bullpen. Now we have Scott Porter too. Scott Porter was like a 5th rounder. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a closer. He 94, 96. And Shippey's in the bullpen. And I mean, once he's up, the entire stands, Shippey, they're cheering him on the whole 9. And I know he comes in the game, and anyways, it was a full standing ovation, and it was cool. We wound up losing the game, but it was just a cool moment. That's one thing I remember. I don't think I've talked to Sam Shippey since then. So if you ever see this, I hope you're doing well, buddy.
Well, we'll have to find- we'll have to find it
it's
now.
honestly one of the most memorable of all. We had a lot of great stuff, but that was one moment that I still tell that story to this day. It was just really cool. We were playing Florida State in a regional, and he came in to pitch, and the entire stands were cheering for him. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, we could probably sit here all day. And it's crazy to think how long it's been.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday when we sit down and tell these stories, and we were talking a couple weeks ago how my freshman year. I mean, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And just that group, and we should probably get them together too. So somehow, some way this season. But guys, this has been awesome. Exactly what I expected. Sit you two down and let you go. Thank you for coming on. So appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us, Pat. Appreciate it.